Hello guys, Crispy here, welcome back to another video. In this one, my friends, I'm gonna be testing a GeForce RTX 4090 in Ark Performance Descended. Oh boy. This is it right here, guys, Ark Survival Ascended, and it's still in early access, and this game, and the Ark series in general, is known for its extreme unoptimization. Now, actually, the recommended requirements only ask for a Ryzen 5 3600X and a 3080. That's quite a big requirement on the GPU. SSD is required as well, 70 gigs of available storage, although this might need an update actually because it is occupying 165 gigabytes right now. But yeah, guys, this is another UE5 title, super demanding and unoptimized, and let's move on with the test system, okay? This one is the Asus ROG Strix version of the card. I am running it with the latest NVIDIA drivers. I'm not manually overclocking it, and you can see all of its specs right here in Tech Power-Ups GPU-Z. And over on the left, I'm pairing it with a Ryzen 9 7950X3D CPU with half of its cores disabled, making it the same as a 7800X3D and 32 gigabytes of RAM. Let's get into it, shall we? Okay, here we are. Let's go over the settings first. I am starting at 4K native resolution, alright, using 100% resolution scale. You know, if you have a 4090, you're probably used to playing games at 4K resolution, and I'm using the Epic Settings preset here, which is recommended for an RTX 4070 and up. So we meet these requirements here, right? It's still not completely maxed out, by the way. We got cinematic lighting mode over here, which says expensive. I want to take a look at that a little bit later in this video, you know. And yeah, that's about it for the rest of the settings. There's nothing else here. There's also DLSS available in this game, which we will take a look at as well. But let's just press space to start and resume our game here in the island. And we just started this game, guys. I built this massive boy over here, which, well, is as strong as a 4090, I guess. And you can see it's getting 60 FPS, but the frame time is absolutely terrible. I don't know what's going on with that, dude. Now, it still feels okay, although over here with 60 FPS, it doesn't look like it is running at 60 FPS. So, yeah, it's micro-stuttering way too much for my taste, and I hate that. But hey, let's start counting our FPS. 1% lows are instantly in the 20s because of that terrible frame time graph. And I guess I'll try to fix it later with like an FPS lock or something. By the way, the FPS lock built into the game doesn't seem to work for some reason. I tried messing around with it, tried to lock the FPS inside of the game. My god, so much stuttering. This is terrible. Holy crap, it freezes in there. Look at that. This is so insane. Obviously, you can make the game smoother and more playable on a 4090 if you just lower it down to like high settings instead of epic settings, for example. There are also some console commands to get rid of Lumen, which will increase your FPS as well. But you know, I'm just here trying it out on epic settings, how you should play, or at least how it should run on an RTX 4090, right? But yeah, it is absolute stutterfest, basically. That frame time should be a line, okay? Like in most of my videos, the frame time is actually a flat line. It's crazy, like what the hell is that? Actually, if I go here to the menu, you can see this is how the frame time is supposed to be, okay? Without any stuttering or micro stuttering. And if I start counting the FPS in the menu, you can see that the 1% lows are very close to the averages because the frame time graph is stable. But as soon as we go to the game itself, frame time graph is crazy. If we start counting the FPS, 1% lows are instantly in the 20s, and it feels like crap, guys. It just does. And then it stutters like that. Oh my goodness. What have they done, dude? This is awful. This is an awful experience. What the hell? Now, the baseline FPS, what we're seeing there is 59, like 60, 57, 56. So 50 to 60 FPS is actually decent, especially considering it's UE5 and it has very gorgeous graphics, actually. But it's so inconsistent and so stuttery that it becomes a very big issue, you know, and I don't find this a playable experience, honestly, guys. It feels like crap. Oh my god, what happened now? What the heck? I thought it crashed there, but no, it was just a loading stutter or traversal stutter or something like that, because this game also doesn't compile the shaders beforehand. This is the pinnacle of an optimization, I guess. Anyway, what should we try next? Maybe VSync. This actually comes on by default, and this could possibly save our frame time graph. Let's see. No, it does not save our frame time graph. It's still the same crap. VSync is at 120 Hz because I'm using a 120 Hz monitor, so it just caps the FPS at 120, and it's not doing anything for the stability of the game. It's just adding a little bit of input lag, which is normal by the use of VSync, you know. So what if I set it to like adaptive? Will that work? Nope, still the same crap. Okay, it's gonna be very hard to benchmark this game if it runs like this. So what I'm gonna do is bring up RivaTuner Statistics Server over here, and I will try locking the FPS in this app. This usually smooths out the frame time graphs if they are like that. But the problem is we are dropping from 60 FPS, so I'll lock it to like 45. I guess it doesn't really drop from 45. And indeed, that fixes the frame time graph, guys. Okay, it still looks really terrible and very choppy, and I don't think 45 FPS usually looks like this, but hey, maybe I'm just used to 60, you know, and now 45 feels like crap. But no, it literally looks like 20 or something. This is absolutely crazy and stupid and ridiculous. Like, what? Dude, can you stop stuttering? See, you spend so much on a PC, and then this is the end result that the developers from Ark give you. Well, I guess I'm just gonna have to utilize some DLSS. Let's set it to quality now, all right? And save that. I'm also going to go here and unlock the FPS again. So quality DLSS at 4K resolution. No, I think it's not working. I'm not sure though, because quality DLSS usually looks very similar to native resolution at 4K. So to make sure that it is working, I'm just going to set it to like ultra performance. If nothing changes, we need to restart. No, it does change. Yeah, okay. So on ultra performance, it's super blurry, very pixelated around the vegetation and the leaves of the grass and so on. There are artifacts as well. Pff, still stuttering like crazy, but the FPS are close to 100 now, so I would never do this, honestly. This is now rendering the game at 720p and upscaling to 4K, so yeah, it's crap. But let's do it on quality then, because it was actually working. Unfortunately, though, it doesn't smooth out our frame time graph, which is very terrible. That's the main issue of this game at the moment, I guess. And also, compared to other titles, it doesn't improve our FPS by too much. Like, we were seeing 50 to 60 most of the time. Now we're seeing 60 plus most of the time, but it's what, a 5, 10 FPS improvement, something like that. Maybe 15 sometimes. You usually see like a 30 FPS improvement when enabling DLSS quality. Oh my god, dude. What the... Oh... It's so terrible. But hey, guys, as long as you can fix that micro stuttering issue, it will run at 60 FPS apparently, with a heck of a lot of stuttering, putting our 1% lows at 1 FPS. And it still drops slightly into the 50s, although I'm not sure if it's because of the stuttering or just the game itself being super intensive. You can't know for sure because it's constantly stuttering like crazy. This also, GPU utilization isn't maxing out. It's at 93% or so. It could be a CPU bottleneck, I guess, but given that with ultra quality DLSS, it is getting higher FPS, you know, noticeably higher FPS, and the GPU usage is still around the same, like 90 to 93% most of the time, aside from when it's stuttering. Yeah, I don't think it is a CPU bottleneck. I just think that the game caps it at 93 GPU usage for some reason. It's so weird. It's absolutely crazy, the state of this game after so many months. How can't they fix it? It's just unbelievable. Anyway, we're back to quality DLSS, and it stays above 60 FPS most of the time, so we can now lock it to 60 here and see for sure if it feels like 60 FPS or not. It's stuttering a lot still. You can see the frame time graph. Like, what the... Oh boy, okay, yeah, this is... I don't understand, guys. This is so terrible. I think it's worse than when the game released. I mean, maybe when the game released it was stuttering more, I believe. But now it has those actually, the thick frame time graph. You know, it didn't have the thick frame time graph when the game released. Does it use frame generation by default? I don't... Like, because we don't have frame generation here, anywhere in the menu. Over here on UI, it shouldn't be on UI, but there's no frame generation here. On graphics, everything epic, of course, like motion blur disabled, no frame generation around here. On video, we got DLSS Quality, but no frame generation around here either. And I did play this game with frame generation when it came out, so I don't know why it's missing now. Should we restore all settings? I don't even know what to do. Okay, wait a second. Let me just disable the FPS lock here in Review Tuner. DLSS is set to auto by default. VSync is also turned on by default, and it defaults to medium settings, basically. Medium settings preset is what it defaults to with an RTX 4090, guys. And well, with medium settings preset, we can get those 100 FPS, and it does feel smooth and high refresh rate now, although that frame time is still terrible. And in terms of GPU utilization, it's still 92, 93%. Really weird behavior in this title, guys. Motion blur is... I don't know why that comes on by default. There are a lot of artifacts also around the character here. Are they caused by motion blur, or is it like frame generation enabled by default in the background without anyone knowing about it? I don't know. I still don't know. Could be TAA as well, or whatever the crap they're using as anti-aliasing. Alright, so I'm just gonna go back to native over here, which selects 56% resolution scale by default. It's really weird. Why 56%, right? It doesn't look terrible, though. I thought it would look worse, but let's go back to 100% resolution scale. Here we go. And I am fully restarting the game now because I want to fully apply the medium settings, including textures and so on, which might not apply if you just do it inside of the game and keep on playing. And here we are back in the game. It still gets around the same FPS, indeed, 80s. Frame time graph is exactly the same on medium settings as it was on epic settings. VSync is back on for some reason. Max frame rate is actually selected over there at 60, but it isn't. Like, it isn't capping our FPS. What if I set it to 15? Will it make it 30? No, it is actually making it 15. No, it makes it 30. So it does have frame generation by default enabled in the background without telling you about it. What the hell? Now I'm completely sure about it, guys. That's why the 45 FPS cap previously felt like 20-something FPS, and the 60 FPS cap felt like 30 FPS, because this is running the freaking frame generation somewhere. But where is it? This is crazy. They're just masking the fact that the game runs like complete dog crap with forced frame generation by default. We would be seeing like at least 30 to 50% less performance without the frame gen enabled. And the frame gen could be the thing that makes our frame time look like that. Because, for example, in Marvel Rivals, interestingly, which I've been testing in a few GPUs, it also shows this exact frame time issue in another PC, completely different system over here that I have with 3700X and 16 gigabytes of RAM and Windows 10, not Windows 11. I'm running Windows 11 here with a 4090. And in that system, frame gen behaves the same way in that particular title. In other games, it works fine, but it seems like in Ark, as well as the recently tested here in the channel Marvel Rivals, it's showing this. Come on, if you're gonna force frame gen, at least make it work properly, dude. What the heck are you doing? Also, at the very least, I gotta commend them for the input lag not being noticeable, but I guess the input lag isn't noticeable because FG is not working properly, because if it was, there would be more input lag for sure. I think it's not showing the generated frames at all, okay? And also, guys, when I selected 15 FPS over here on the max frame rate and it got us 30, Did 30 look like that? Yes. The thick frame time graph is still there, even with this. And this is clearly not 30 FPS. So it's not showing the generated frames at all. Please stop. Please. This is a huge Jack. It is! Hello, Jack! So cute! Actually, this one isn't really that cute, but what the heck are you doing here, buddy? Oh, at least Jack came to visit us. How long has it been? Yeah, 26th of October 2023. It's been more than a year since it released in early access, and it's still this broken. I'm lost for words at the moment, guys. What if we set it to low settings? Actually, like, I'm gonna manually select the lowest settings over here, okay? And disable light bloom as well. Let's save that. And yeah, we gotta go to the main menu. Okay, so we don't need to fully restart the game. We just gotta go to the main menu to apply everything. And on the absolute lowest settings, it's getting close to 200 frames per second. It also looks like absolute crap. Like, it looks like the lighting isn't even working. I didn't even use config files for this. Oh my gosh, over here we're starting to see some color. Okay. Damn, dude. Wow. But hey, it's getting close to 200 FPS at 4K. Is it native or did it change the... Yes, it changed the resolution scale. Never mind. At least the resolution scale works pretty well in this game, because I couldn't really tell that it wasn't native 4K. At least not at first glance, you know. If I was looking for it, I would probably be able to spot it. But yeah, it's still 140 FPS. Very nice, right? But... if you think about it, how many games look better than this and perform this way on the 4090, right? Like, do you really need these graphics for this engine to be able to achieve 140 FPS natively? And this is with frame generation in the background enabled, okay? Alright, you know what? I'm gonna select DLSS Quality now, go over here, set it to Epic Settings, so back to max settings over here at least. I'm gonna disable Motion Blur, and I am going to set it to the absolute maximum, okay? So let's enable all of these. Footstep particles, yes. Footstep decals, yes. I don't know what that is, but we don't want to disable anything. The UI quality, it doesn't really matter, but yes, let's set it to the maximum. And here, the cinematic lighting mode. And let's save that. All right, there we go. It says to go to the main menu. I don't trust them, so I'm actually going to get out of the game completely and restart. And you know what? We're starting a whole new game, okay? And let's randomize another... you know what? Yeah, perfect. Let's go. Frame time looks okay right now, but as soon as this loads in or just stops the animation, it goes to crazy levels, right? Yeah, look at that. That's so stupid. That's so weird. It's just because frame generation kicks in whenever the animation ends, basically. That's exactly what happened. Like, you could actually see it, you know, 30-ish FPS, then it went up to 50, and frame generation kicks in, and we get that frame time graph issue. Wow. Okay. But hey, these are the complete maximum settings, and I wish we could try it without the frame generation to see the true FPS, but the developers just removed that setting completely. Oh yeah, and this is with DLSS Quality, of course, I totally forgot about that. So it is way more intensive like this than the Epic Settings preset, by the way, okay? Let's set it to native, select 100% resolution scale, and now this is the native resolution experience with complete maxed out settings. And it's getting, it's not too different actually, like 5 FPS less or so. It's still really crappy of an experience once again. I would rather have 30 or 25 FPS without this frame generation wrecking our 1% lows and the frame time graph completely, honestly. But hey, you can't disable FG now, apparently, at least on these 40 series GPUs. I wonder how something like a 3080 Ti would play this game without the frame generation, because 3080 Ti doesn't support frame generation, and I don't think this game supports FSR frame generation, so it would be interesting to see if it can get like a smoother frame time graph, or at least not a freaking wall of a frame time graph, you know. What is that? So in the end, guys, this game does destroy. Let's do ultra performance DLSS. It does destroy the RTX 4090, but it's not because the RTX 4090 is a slow GPU for this. It's just because the game is absolutely, completely broken if you play it on max settings. And even on low settings, you saw it. It gets good FPS, but the frame time is still crap. It looks like crap on low. Yeah. Guys, I have restarted the game again because I just read that maybe this was a G-Sync issue, but no. So it seems like, from what I read, this is taking a while to load. What the hell is happening? Look at that. What the Anyway, I read that this game now features FSR's frame generation by default. So with that 3080 Ti that I was telling you about, it would run exactly the same because FSR frame generation would still be enabled. And I also read that the game runs like this whenever G-Sync is enabled, and that's the issue. But I just disabled G-Sync completely now. Okay, it's not running G-Sync anymore. It says in my capture card G-Sync is off as well, and if I go to the NVIDIA control panel, you can see G-Sync is turned off completely, as you can see. Yet, it is still running like this, so that's not the issue. I don't know what's causing that, but if you manage to fix the frame time issue, it will be getting the same FPS that we are seeing, but it will look smoother with a heck of a lot more input lag at the same time. So, there's that. Anyway, that's it, guys. Goodbye, Bob. This is probably Bob, right? He wants to eat us. So, yeah. I'll get you in the next one very soon. What was that animation? Obviously, it's not working as intended because I am invincible, so there's that. There we go. Good stuff. Catch you in the next one. I don't want to touch this game anymore in a while. Love you all. Bye-bye.